You were asked by my colleague from Vermont whether you will support providing a video or audio tape, if it exists, of Mr. Holman taking $50,000 in bribe money from the FBI. Will you support a request by this committee to provide that tape or tapes to the committee? Yes or no?
Senator Schiff, you can talk to Director Patel about that.
Well, I'm talking to you about it. You're the Attorney General. This will be your decision. Will you support?
You don't have to tell me what is my decision and what is not
then,
my decision. I said
you
can
don't
talk
have
to Director Patel.
You don't have to try to.
You think you've got a gotcha with Tom Homan, our borders czar, who's been out there fighting for our country since Donald Trump took office.
I'm trying to ask a question. Regular order, please. And you don't have to defer to the FBI director to pass the buck. So I'm asking you, will you support a request so that the committee, or indeed I believe the American people, should be able to see that video or audio tape? Will you support that request?
Will you apologize to Donald Trump
for trying to...
When the Attorney General gets asked a basic oversight question and turns it into personal attacks and a demand that a senator apologize to Donald Trump, that's not transparency. That's a loyalty audition. Watch how fast a simple yes or no becomes political protection.
Was that true, what the White House press secretary said when she denied Holman took the money? Did he take the money?
Senator Schiff, as I stated earlier, I was not in office. I was not confirmed when that was handled.
So does that
Deputy Attorney General Blanche and Director Patel said that there was no evidence that Tom Homan committed a crime. Yet now you're putting his picture up to slander him.
No, I'm putting his picture up showing an interview he gave with, I think, Fox, in which he was asked explicitly about these allegations that he took a $50,000 bribe, and he refused to answer. He said he didn't answer the question whether he took the money, so I'm asking you the question. Did he take the money?
Senator Schiff, I answered that question multiple times. And frankly,
Well, I don't think, with respect, I don't think you did. But in case I just didn't hear you, what is the answer? Did he take the money?
Senator Schiff, that happened prior to my confirmation as Attorney General. I said that.
Do you know, sitting here, whether he took the money?
All I know is that Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche and FBI Director Patel said there was no case. And Caroline Leavitt is one of the most trustworthy human beings I know.
So
and,
was she?
Senator Schiff,
if
you worked for me, you would have been fired because you were censured by Congress for lying with your egregious...
You can stipulate to all your personal attacks on the Democratic members of the committee.
Personal attacks? You've been attacking my FBI director. You've been attacking my office. You've been attacking...
But what we're interested in...
borders are.
What we're interested in is the answer to these oversight questions.
You want your
you were asked by my colleague. You were asked by my colleague.
Attacking good people.
Regular order, Madam Chair, so I can ask a question. You were asked by my colleague from Vermont whether you will support providing a video or audio tape, if it exists, of Mr. Holman taking $50,000 in bribe money from the FBI. Will you support a request by this committee to provide that tape or tapes to the committee? Yes or no?
Senator Schiff, you can talk to Director Patel about that.
Well, I'm talking to you about it. You're the Attorney General. This will be your decision. Will you support?
You don't have to tell me what is my decision and what is not my decision. I said you can talk to Director Patel.
You don't have to try to.
You think you've got a gotcha with Tom Homan, our borders czar, who's been out there fighting for our country since Donald Trump took office.
I'm trying to ask a question. Regular order, please. And you don't have to defer to the FBI director to pass the buck. So I'm asking you, will you support a request so that the committee, or indeed I believe the American people, should be able to see that video or audio tape? Will you support that request?
Will you apologize to Donald Trump for trying to impeach him?
I guess the answer is you won't support that request.
After you now know that Joe Biden tried to cover up Hunter Biden's involvement with Ukraine.
Let me do this, because I think it's valuable that the American people get a sense of what you've refused to answer today. So these are just some of the questions you refused to answer, or have answered with personal attacks on members of this committee. You were asked whether you consulted with career ethics lawyers, as you promised you would do during your nomination hearing, when you approved the president receiving a $400 million gift from the Qataris. You refused to answer that question. You were asked who or what role you may have played or who played the role in asking that Trump's name be flagged in any of the Epstein documents gathered by the FBI. You refused to answer that question. You were asked whether Homan kept the $50,000 bribe money. You refused to answer that question. You were asked whether Homan paid taxes on the $50,000 bribe money. You refused to answer that question. You were asked, did career prosecutors find insufficient evidence to charge James Comey? You refused to answer that question. You were asked, how are military strikes on these boats in the Caribbean legal? And you refused to even answer that question.
You were asked, a law degree,
excuse me. You were asked, did you discuss indicting James Comey with the president? You refused to answer that question. You were asked, did you approve the firing of antitrust lawyers who disagreed with the Hewlett-Packard merger? You refused to answer that question. You were asked whether you support a restoration fund for violent insurrections to attack the Capitol on January 6th. You refused to answer that question. You were asked whether you were firing career professionals, career prosecutors, just because they worked on January 6th investigations. You refused to answer that question. You were asked by my California colleague whether you believe government officials, like immigration officials, have to abide by court orders. You wouldn't even answer that question. This is supposed to be an oversight hearing.
Oversight?
Excuse me, you can attack me after my time is over.
You've attacked all of us, including President Trump, for your entire career.
You can attack me later, and I know you've got plenty of canned attacks. We've heard them all day to day.
Canned attacks on you?
This is supposed to be...
No one needs a canned attack on you.
Regular order, Madam Chair. I'm trying to speak. This is supposed to be an oversight hearing of the Justice Department. And it comes in the wake of an indictment called for by the president of one of his enemies. This is supposed to be an oversight hearing, and it comes in the wake of revelations that a top administration official took $50,000 in a bag, and this department made that investigation go away. This is supposed to be an oversight hearing when dozens of prosecutors have been fired simply because they worked on cases investigating the former president. This is, and now
what
the current president.
What about the fires in California?
And
do you care about that, Senator Schiff?
This is supposed to be an oversight hearing in which members of Congress can get serious answers to serious questions about
the riots in LA serious?
About the cover-up of corruption, about the prosecution of the president's enemies. And
I think you owe the president an apology.
When will it be
frankly,
that the members of this committee on a bipartisan basis demand answers to those questions and refuse to accept
Clearly you're a failed lawyer because you don't
understand
when someone can and cannot answer a question.
Refuse to accept personal slander as an answer to those questions.
Personal slander? Will you apologize to Donald Trump for slandering him? Personal slander?
Senator Benton.
May I ask unanimous consent, Madam Chair, to introduce into the record the statement of 1,000 former Justice Department officials who warned that the Comey indictment is a democracy-threatening abuse of power. May I also request unanimous consent for the introduction into the record of 282 former career officials at the Justice Department raising an alarm who were voluntarily or involuntarily forced to leave the department because of improper actions taken by the Department of Justice. May I introduce, with unanimous consent, the Justice Department manual that talks about when initiating and declining charges are subject to impermissible considerations. And finally, Madam Chair, may I introduce the letter for Michael Ben-Ari, a career counterterrorism prosecutor, DOJ, a letter he nailed to his door, which concludes by urging officials to do the right thing for the right reasons, to follow the facts and the law, and raises the alarm that the decision to remove experienced career officials from U.S. attorneys' offices, the FBI, and critical parts of DOJ undermines our country's abilities to counter terrorist organizations, malign nation-state actors, and countless others that seek to harm our nation and its citizens. And he believes that the priority is prosecuting the president's enemies
or are you admitting
rather than protecting the country.
1 moment.
May I have unanimous consent to enter these into the record?
Without objection.
Thank you. I yield back.
All right, rewind. Notice what just happened. Schiff asks a question that's painfully simple. Did he take the money? Not what's your opinion, not how do you feel. A basic oversight question about an alleged $50,000 cash exchange and whether there's tape. And instead of a straight answer, we get the oversight escape room. Step 1. I wasn't confirmed yet. That's not an answer. That's a calendar. If the department closed something, the Attorney General can still explain the reasoning, the process, or at minimum commit to transparency within legal limits. Step 2. Other people said there was no case. Again, not an answer. That's a name drop. It's, trust me, my guys looked at it. Cool, then show your work. Step 3. The pivot to vibes. The press secretary is one of the most trustworthy human beings I know. Okay, but this is the Justice Department, not a Yelp review. Trustworthy is not a substitute for oversight. And then step 4, my personal favorite, attack the questioner. The second she feels cornered, it's not, here's what we can disclose. It's, you're censured, you'd be fired, you're slandering good people. Here's why that matters. In an oversight hearing, senators aren't asking for personality contests. They're asking whether power is being used fairly, whether investigations get opened, closed, or buried based on evidence, or politics. Now watch the moment Schiff shifts tactics. He stops chasing the, did he take it question, and goes for the tape. Because if there's video or audio, that's the ball game. That's objective. That's not he said, she said. And what does the Attorney General do? She punts. Talk to the FBI director, which is wild because the whole point of an oversight hearing is, you're here, you're sworn in. Answer the question, or at least explain what rule prevents you from answering. And then, boom, the loyalty test. Will you apologize to Donald Trump? That one line tells you the real priority. This isn't about facts or process or public confidence. It's about defending the team. Schiff's closing move is smart. If you won't answer, he builds the paper trail. Letters, statements, manuals, into the record. That's not a viral dunk, it's a procedural weapon. Because when accountability gets stonewalled in real time, the record is what survives. So the takeaway isn't Schiff won or Bondi won. The takeaway is a yes or no oversight question turned into a loyalty audition on camera. If you think the American people deserve the tape, hit like and subscribe, because sunlight is the point of oversight, and drop a comment. Should an attorney general ever be asking for apologies to a president in a hearing like this?